Hello there and welcome to my ranking of all of Edgar Wright's films. I just want to say before we start that A Fistful of Fingers is not included because on this channel I don't really want to include short films as they're very different from feature-length films. So I just want to put that out there. So enjoy. Starting off with number 5, we have The World's End. This is definitely the worst of the Cornetto trilogy, and in my opinion, the worst of Edgar Wright's films. And I don't dislike this film. All of his films are very good, and they're all very unique, I think is a good word to use. But The World's End definitely falls short to two of the best comedies ever made. And if you're going to finish off a trilogy, I was expecting something bigger, I think. Something, I don't know, it went, maybe not bigger, but it went big, but not in the right way. It just had to have, I think, more charm. And the problem, I think, is that I think Simon Pegg plays the better sensible character, and Nick Frost plays the better, more idiot sidekick character. And they kind of swapped roles in this film. And I don't think that worked out for the better. But it's still a good film, and there's a few, good laughs and funny moments that you enjoy, But yeah, definitely falls short to some of the other stuff that he's done. And I think there was a big gap between Hot Fuzz and The World's End, in which he made Scott Pilgrim. And I think, him going out more and maybe being less just involved with mainly Simon Pegg, might have changed his perception. Maybe, definitely not for the worse altogether, but yeah, it just felt like they were, I don't know, coming up with the same film again. Just didn't work, really didn't work. But yeah, number 5. Alright, here at number 4 we have Baby Driver, which anyone that's a big fan of Edgar Wright is probably a big fan of this film. And I think even beyond just Edgar Wright, people love this film. And I enjoyed it, but what I didn't like is that I was hoping for a really great Edgar Wright film, and what I got was a film. It was a decent film, but it didn't feel like an Edgar Wright film. There were things that made me, know that it was an Edgar Wright film, but it just felt like a film that maybe, Michael Bay or, someone like that could have just thrown together. It would have been nowhere near as good, but it was nothing special. And I think the weakness of this is mainly the story. I just didn't feel it was that impressive. And, there's good parts. There was a good idea to have, this getaway driver, and how he listens to his music and all of that, but it's not the most original thing in the world. And I think Edgar Wright has so many, films that nobody else could make that. That's just so great. And what I didn't like this film is that I just knew that someone else could have made it. It just feels weak compared to the rest. It falls short. I prefer it to The World's End, and because it's got a bit more action, and the action itself is more interesting than what's in The World's End. Obviously, Baby Driver is less funny as well, but there were other things about the film, like I didn't feel like the two main characters, Lily James and the other guy with the weird name, didn't have the greatest chemistry, and just stuff like that I feel makes the film kind of fall short a bit. But it's still a good film, and it's there at number 4. Alright, here we are at number 3, and we've got Scott Pilgrim versus the World. And this film, I think, amongst anything else, is just kinda crazy. It's like nothing else you'll ever see. And it's just a good laugh. If you want to watch a stupid film, then you can just shove it on. And to be honest, I think in a weird way, this is, out of all of Edgar Wright's films, the one I'd want to watch the least. But I think what's made me put it at number 3 is the amount of respect I have for this film. Because, Jesus, this film, like, mad. And do I think anyone else could have done Scott Pilgrim like this? No, I really don't. Just everything about this film is so, like, charming and special. And I remember, like, little things that I noticed while I was watching. I was noticing when Mary Elizabeth Winstead and Michael Cera are talking to each other on the bus, and then that's when they make it official that they're together. In the background, the little lights on Michael Cera's side are all love hearts, and on Mary Elizabeth Winstead's side is all these crosses when she's talking about her exes, and then it changes to love hearts when they officially get together. And just little things like that are so hard to notice, I think, is what makes Edgar Wright so good. And I feel like with Baby Driver and The World's End, he pushed too many of these things, and I feel like Scott Pilgrim and the top two, they have that kind of, those hidden messages, which is what makes them great. So that's why I put Scott Pilgrim up there, number 3. Alright, coming up with number 2, we have Shaun of the Dead, which, these top two, I think you know which one's number 1. These top two are just legendary films, especially here in England. They are just, you know, Shaun of the Dead and Hot Fuzz, yeah, I've spoiled it. They are just great, hands down. You want to watch a good-ass English comedy, these are the films. And what makes Shaun of the Dead so great is because, once again with Edgar Wright, there's nothing else like it, and it's a very charming film as well. And I feel like Simon Pegg's portrayal of the main guy, Shaun, is that the world around him, as the world kind of develops and goes more crazy, he has to change his schedule from normal, low life that has no passion for life, and he has to twist that around, and he has to make that change in his life because of these zombies. And he finally comes out of his shell, and he has to take responsibility for helping the people that he loves. And it's just, amongst it all, a sweet film, but it's so funny as well. So many iconic moments, you know, the whole wait for this to blow over, that snippet of stuff together, oh man, so great. And Nick Frost and Simon Pegg, their chemistry together is just almost unbeatable with the whole of cinema. They're just so great together, they really are. And every time they're in a film together, I just want to watch it. And Edgar Wright just complements this. They're a fantastic trio, absolutely great film. Okay, here at number 1, we have Hot Fuzz. This film, oh man, I don't think there's a more quotable film on this planet, or not one that I quote as much as this anyway. It's just hilarious. The whole idea is so stupid. This London cop coming down to, you know, the West Country in this little town because he's showing them up in London, which is somewhat a believable story. And yeah, it's just so great, and all the characters, every single one, the whole police force, just hilarious, from the Andes to Nick Frost to, you know, everyone, absolutely everyone. It's just, oh man, fantastic film. But what makes it is the setting, I think, and it's such a relatable setting, especially for me. And I just think, just the action and the comedy, the blend of it all, done to perfection. This was a perfect film, and to follow up on Shaun of the Dead with this just shows what an amazing filmmaker Edgar Wright is. and how he is sort of the king of comedy, especially visual comedy, which is very noticeable, especially in Hot Fuzz. Just all these little things that, just make you laugh. And, it's not like a normal comedy where it's like, you have to laugh at these points. You laugh at Hot Fuzz when you want to laugh. You can really feel it. It's a great film. Again, the chemistry between Simon Pegg and Nick Frost, just out of the park. Fantastic. Really, really, really great film. Gotta watch it. If you haven't already, you need to watch it. But yeah, that's why it's at number 1. And Edgar Wright, all amazing stuff, but this is his best.